body gets tired and sick, so too does the mind. If first aid can be administered to physical injuries, it can also be applied for people experiencing mental distress. The Cordillera region in northern Luzon, Philippines, is vulnerable to natural disasters given its location and topography. Natural disasters with their negative impact cannot be underestimated. Typhoons can cause flooding and landslides, earthquakes can destroy buildings or structures, while volcanic eruptions can trigger mudflows or lahar. Several tropical cyclones have already hit the Cordillera, resulting in massive destruction, such as typhoons Pepeng and Ondoy. We also remember the July 16, 1990 earthquake with a 7.7 magnitude, which shook the lives of many people in the region and killed 2,412 individuals. The 1991 eruption of Volcan Pinatubo wiped out many villages and brought destruction not only within central Luzon, but affected further regions in the north. The region is also prone to human-induced disasters. These include extractive activities such as massive quarrying and large-scale mining. These have led to environmental destruction, triggering landslides, especially when coupled by continuous rains, such as the experience in Itogon in 2018 during Typhoon Ompong. Large dams may potentially cause immense flooding, such as the occurrence in Cagayan during Typhoon Ulysses in 2020. War or militarization of communities is another illustration of human-induced hazard, which have also been common occurrences in Cordillera villages since the 1970s. These had caused people to evacuate their villages, experience impacts of bombings, or suffer infringements to their rights as a peoples. Disasters affect individuals, families, and entire communities. People may lose their homes and loved ones, and may also become separated from their communities. In other cases, they may witness violence, destruction, or death. All these can cause a person to feel extreme stress or suffer from trauma. How someone reacts to a stressful situation depends on many factors, including the nature and severity of the events they experienced and how they dealt with previous distressing events. Support systems also factor into a person's response to stress. The personal and family histories of physical and mental health also come to play. The cultural background and traditions that they come from, as well as their age and gender, may also be factors to consider. Anyone can be affected in different ways if they experience such events. There is a wide range of reactions that a person can have. Affected individuals may manifest responses like trembling, headaches, tiredness, loss of appetite, or irregular menstrual cycles for women. They may also manifest through emotions, including crying fits, depression, anxiety, and anger. Their survival from a traumatic event may even translate to guilt or shame. In some cases, victims feel disoriented such that they cannot remember their names, where they are from, or what has happened. They may also be unable to care for themselves or the people they are responsible for. Children and youth may show distress reactions too and need the same level of attention. Toddlers may manifest trauma through bedwetting, among others. School-aged children may develop new fears, be less affectionate, feel alone, and blame themselves for the crisis. For adolescents, they may feel empty and numb. They may also feel different and isolated from their friends. Risk-taking behavior and negative attitudes may also show. Every one of us have strengths and abilities to cope with different challenges in life. However, some people are particularly vulnerable in a crisis situation and may need extra help. This is where psychological first aid may help. Psychological first aid describes a humane, supportive response to a fellow human being who is suffering from experiencing critical events and who may need support. Psychological first aid is giving psychosocial support by assessing needs and concerns, helping people address their basic needs, listening to people but not pressuring them to talk, comforting people and helping them feel calm, helping people connect to information, services, and social support, and protecting people from further harm. Correcting common misconceptions about PFA. PFA is not professional counseling, thus, it is not something that only professionals can do. It can be done by anybody who wants to lend a helping hand. PFA is not psychological debriefing. It does not necessarily involve a detailed discussion of the event that caused the distress. PFA is not asking someone to analyze what happened to them or to put time and events in order. PFA is not about compelling people to tell you their feelings and reactions to an event, although it involves being available to listen to people's stories. There may be situations when someone needs further psychosocial intervention than PFA alone. These following situations would require immediate medical attention or help. People with serious life-threatening injuries who need emergency medical care. People who feel upset that they cannot care for themselves or their children. People who may hurt themselves and others. People who manifest drastic changes in behavior. And people who may have difficulties performing routinary activities. Among the indigenous peoples of the Cordillera region, psychosocial mechanisms are embedded in their beliefs and customary practices. Traditionally, when they are confronted with adversities, indigenous peoples in many villages automatically converge at the site to see what immediate needs and relief works have to be done. Some, especially the women, would listen to the affected individuals and lend their shoulders to cry on. Others would gather and take care of the children and elderlies. All able-bodied individuals would pool their labor and material resources for the immediate works to be done in order to mitigate the devastating effects of the disaster and avert further damage. After the affected persons pour out their fears, griefs, and anxieties, the listeners would console and assure them, usually with the soothing phrases, "Laton, kasiya na, aunit itungin di adi kaila," or "The unseen is merciful and will not abandon you, mihuang tau." And they perform cleansing rituals to help process an individual or a community from traumatic experiences so that the horrifying images from the incident would stop recurring in their minds. It would not cause deep-seated traumas that would haunt them in the future. Examples are daw us and paypay. This automatic response is binadang in all its forms. PFA is needed because people's conditions improve when they have access to social, physical, and emotional support. When people feel connected with other people, they may feel safer, calmer, and more hopeful. Eventually, they may be able to cope with their stressful situations because they know that they are not alone. PFA is for distressed people who have been recently exposed to a serious crisis event. You can provide help to both children and adults. However, not everyone who experiences a crisis event will need or want PFA. Do not force help on people who do not want it, but make yourself easily available to those who may want support. PFA is provided through communication. Start by approaching people who may need support and ask about their needs and concerns. The way you communicate with someone in distress is very important. Be aware of both your words and body language, such as facial expressions, eye contact, gestures, and the way you sit or stand in relation to the other person. Understanding their culture is important. First, Find an appropriate place to talk to the affected people to minimize distractions. Second, always see to it that you are facing the people you are talking to. Keep an appropriate distance. Consider their age, gender, and culture. Third, sit properly. Fourth, listen and do not make judgments. Gain an understanding of the situation from the other person's point of view. Be patient and calm. Remember that you are there to give support. Fifth, make eye contact and give brief and appropriate responses. Sixth, use simple and clear words. Seventh, allow the person to finish talking without interrupting. Allow brief periods of silence. Eighth, acknowledge how they are feeling and respond to any loss or any important events they tell you about, such as loss of their home or death of a loved one. Ninth, acknowledge each person's strengths and how they have helped themselves. 10th, provide factual information, if you have it. Be honest about what you know and don't know. 11th, check for accuracy of what has been said by repeating what you have heard. Lastly, ask questions to clarify. Questions must be concise and open-ended. Open-ended questions are those that are not just answerable by a simple yes or no. Acknowledge the child's or children's presence. Make him, her, or them as comfortable as possible. Make eye contact. Second, be respectful to the children. Do not call them with malicious or mean words like pasaway, tamad, or salbahe. Third, use words that children understand. Fourth, avoid talking about them to others when they are around. And lastly, children usually have difficulties expressing themselves through words. It is best to provide appropriate materials, such as paper and crayons, where they can express their thoughts or feelings. Group games can also make them more at ease. What happens next? Explain to the people that you are leaving, and if someone else will be helping them from that point on, try and introduce them to that person. If you have linked the people to other services, let them know what to expect and be sure they have the details to follow up.